G'day church, Pastor Ben here, wanting to continue our Rhythms of Hope devotional series. It's so great that you could join with us today, and I'd love to take a look at what I'm calling the pathway to peace. Have you ever heard someone say, or maybe you've said it, I'm under so much pressure, or maybe I'm feeling the strain? These are expressions of a person who's experiencing stress. You know, the dictionary defines stress as a state of mental or emotional strain or tension or even pressure resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. I mean, we're watching a world that's under pressure, a people that are under tension, and it's affecting all of us in so many different ways. For some, it's the stress of the unknown. For others, the pressure that we have on us financially, and some have even felt levels of relief by not having to engage the daily grind with work. But we've got new stresses. The kids are at home. We're trying to homeschool and navigate what that looks like. We can all manage stress in our lives in different ways. A little bit of stress is often helpful. It helps get us to our deadline. It helps get us to reach the goal that we've got. And we understand that if it's a time frame that we can work within, we can manage it. Say that exam that's coming up. We know that it will come to an end. Or the report that's due by the end of the week. We know that that time frame will end. But how do we walk the pathway to peace when living under the tension of the unknown? It was the Apostle Paul in Philippians when he declared in chapter 4, verse 6, he said, "Do not be anxious about anything." Or the New King James Version says, "Be anxious for nothing." You've got to understand, Paul's in house arrest. He's got in circumstances where he could feel a bit of stress. And the church that he's writing this letter to are stressed for him. But right at the end of this letter, he makes his final exhortation. We understand that when people say their final words in any sort of communication, they carry weight. And this is what he says: "Do not be anxious about anything." You know, that word anxious in the original Greek is the word merimna now. Describes as a part being drawn in opposite directions. Simply put, divided into parts or going to pieces. You know, in ancient times, there was a form of torture where they would tie the criminal, the person who was being interrogated, by each limb to a horse. And then they would engage those horses to run in different directions. The pain was unbearable. The death was excruciating, as they were literally placed under extreme tension. We can experience the same to a lesser extent when we ask the question, what if? What if I lose my job? What if I get sick? What if this goes for another 6 months? And we feel like we're being pulled in each and every direction by these questions. Every time we ask, we feel ourselves being pulled apart, going to pieces in our mind and our emotions. Anxious and stressed. But the Apostle Paul takes us back to this exhortation and shows us a pathway of peace that we are invited, each of us, to travel. Do not be anxious about anything. Essentially, he's saying don't allow your circumstances to pull you in every direction, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. So how do we overcome the what if questions? We take it to God in prayer. How do we overcome that negative thinking? We focus on the things that we can be thankful for. And we come before Him. And this is the great promise that attaches itself to verse 6, and it's found in verse 7. And he says this: "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding." It's a supernatural peace that you can't work out. He says it will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So when the tension, the pressure, and the stress from your circumstances seeks to pull you to pieces, when the enemy of your soul attempts to torture you with thoughts that divide, the peace of God guards to unite your thoughts and your emotions, to bring a focus back from our situation and onto the one thing, Jesus Christ himself. He is the pathway to our peace. God bless you, church.